what's going on? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. And after 3 years, Another Day Dawns returns to the podcast. Yeah, we have Tyler on the podcast talking about their tour with Memphis May Fire and Atreyu, an alcoholic slushy in Las Vegas, the brand new album Finding Peace Through All the Noise, the making of it, the different creation behind it compared to some of their other music. And on top of it, they give you not 3, but 4 bands to check out. One of them has been on the podcast. So want to get ready for the new album from Another Day Dawns? This is where you do it. Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. This band has not been on the podcast in like 3 years. It was 2020. I didn't even have 100 episodes at that point yet, the last time this band came on. Since then, they have gone on a meteoric rise, opening for bands like Breaking Benjamin, Bush, Sevendust, you name it, they've done it. Currently on tour, supporting Memphis May Fire and Atreyu, and have a brand new album called Finding Peace Through All the Noise coming out on October 6th. So you want to get ready for it? You want to know more about it? Let's talk about it. So please welcome Tyler from the band Another Day Dawns to the podcast. So Tyler, I'm pretty sure it's the second time I've had you on, so welcome back, my friend.
Hello, thank you so much. Of course,
yeah, it literally cut out right at the wrong moment.
But I'm sorry, you did cut out a little bit there.
But we're all good. We're all back around ready to go. Because I know you guys are currently on the road. I mean, literally on the road, supporting Memphis May Fire and Atreyu. I mean, you guys have been on the road for a little bit now. How has the tour been going so far?
It's been amazing. It's been one of the most fun tours for sure. Getting along with absolutely everyone. The dudes in Catch Your Breath, we've been getting super close with them. They're sweet as hell. They're awesome. And the shows have been pretty fun. Little ups and downs, but for the most part, they're enthusiastic crowds. And Atreyu was one of the early bands for me that got me into metal. So going out a couple nights, getting in the pit for their set, that's been really fun.
You've been going out in the middle of the pit, and I haven't been a part of one of those shows yet. And of course, the day you're coming to my hometown, I'm not even going to be there. So damn it, but I'll get to see you at Louder Than Life. But that sounds incredible. Getting to know the guys in Catch Your Breath. I've had them on the podcast before. Great guys, great personalities. But I mean, just being able to be on a tour with Memphis May Fire and Atreyu, it's got to be like a dream come true at this point.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun. And I know we all have pretty different musical backgrounds, but I was one of those kids 2010 and 2014 era of metalcore where there were 20 band bills, and it was always just wild and just a really fun all day thing. So they were big bands for me from back then. And yeah, we've been into a lot of new markets on this tour too. We haven't made it to the West Coast a lot. A lot of new places like Albuquerque. Some new places in Texas. We went to Vegas for the first time we played there.
Say, hopefully no crazy, Vegas stories that involves you getting left behind or something like that, and not miss the bus or something. I've heard stories like that happen before. So as long as you're staying somewhat responsible, making sure you get to the next show on time after Vegas, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, we did. We didn't do anything too crazy in Vegas. The best thing for me was we woke up the day after the show. Jerome and I wanted to go walk around, and we were just looking for some kind of cheapish breakfast, and we found a Taco Bell, and I was like, oh my God, there's alcohol at this Taco Bell. So I had an alcoholic Baja Blast slushie for breakfast, and then we walked around for a bit, and we had to leave in a couple hours. So that was that.
All right, I got to go back to Vegas and get myself a Baja Blast alcoholic slushie. That just sounds fantastic to be walking down the strip. Just everyone's got their big giant drinks. It's what do you got? Baja Blast slushie. How alcoholic is it? Quite.
But yeah, it wasn't a smart idea. I didn't realize how hot it is there. And like I said, that was my breakfast too. So, after having that and then having to walk like 20 minutes back in 107-degree weather was something.
It doesn't even matter. It's, I know you guys are from Pennsylvania. I'm from Wisconsin myself. So when it comes to it gets warm here, it's like that humidity will hit where it's, oh, no, it's the humidity that gets you. Even when it's triple digits out, 107 is still hot as all hell, especially when you have a bunch of sand and concrete all around with no shade.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it was rough. I was tempted to Uber, but it was still like a cool experience. I of course like wanted to, but like I said, we had to leave like a couple hours into that day to get down to the next venue. So, but it was still pretty fun.
So you couldn't go too crazy. You couldn't bet the entire band's fortune on black, like 17 or 18, whichever number it is, to try, times 36 your winnings, but then all of a sudden lose everything. You didn't get that chance, so that's a good sign.
No, we did like just a little bit of blackjack, and that was none of us made anything. We all lost what we played, and that was that.
I've heard stories of bands losing a lot on trips to Vegas, and even I know people that have done the same thing too. I was always told, have money set aside, go to Vegas, and only spend that. And once it's done, don't do anything more because you already set aside. Because then you're going to start going to the machines, start going to the ATMs. You're going to rack up your credit card bill. Your bank statements are going to be all out of whack. And next thing you know, you're going to be trying to sell your car because you want to try and win it all in the slot machine again.
Yeah, no, we're not that kind of. We're pretty chill dudes. I mean, like, we'll drink,
but still have fun with it. That's the most important thing. And so you guys are having a great time on tour. Again, you said you've been listening to these bands since you're like, 2010, 2014, got like that rise core era where all those bands are on the bill. People jump in the pit for Memphis May Fire and Atreyu. You have a blast, a couple of shows out of there. And I mean, I'm just taking a look at it because I still remember the first time I interviewed you guys. You guys were just starting to break out of that like northeastern Pennsylvania scene, starting to get on Octane. But then seeing you guys play with bands like Breaking Benjamin, like actually seeing you play live with Sevendust, and now this tour and continue to see the growth, it's been something that's pretty stellar to watch, man. I got to tell you.
Dude, thank you. I mean, one thing I've really liked is the different kind of groups we can play with. Because, Breaking Benjamin and Bush are like, they've been like touring arenas for a long time now, and they have a really diverse fan group too, like all ages. And then now we're out with Memphis and Atreyu, Catch Your Breath. It's been much younger crowds too. And we have the different kinds of songs and interchangeable set lists to make both of those tours work.
And it's that sort of ability that you guys have as a band that's really promoting a lot of this and giving you that ability. Because when it comes to that Breaking Benjamin Bush crowd, you got more of that alternative and that alt metal feel and a much grander feel as well. And like you said, older demographic. So when you have that all put together, you're going to have to cater to that if you really want to succeed, especially when you have the opening slot. Memphis May Fire and Atreyu, younger crowd, you're going to have a little bit more of a heavier style to work with, so you can pull out some of the heavier stuff. You can be a little bit more crazy, be a little bit more manic, and really bring the crowd into it. Then the couple shows you guys did with Sevendust, it's Sevendust, those shows are going to be absolutely crazy. So all you have to do is just, as the opener, because I remember you guys where it was, get everyone ready to go. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be the rest of the show. You're going to give us that runway to go. I remember it was Il Nino, then Non-Point, then Sevendust. You guys led us right into that perfectly. By the time Il Nino went on, I remember I was itching. I'm like, I'm still ready to go. That was a great warm-up. Let's get going. And then the show just went off without a hitch. It was fantastic.
Dude, thank you. That was such a good lineup. Those were all fun. And I love always playing with bands that have energetic crowds. I like getting people warmed up for them, and because I've been to lots of shows where there's a lot of openers on the bill and no one really gets into it, and then by the time the headliner comes on, no one's really even too warmed up. So it does feel accomplishing to warm up the crowd successfully.
Well, as an accomplishment to that too, one thing it also does from the mind of fans that have never heard you before, it's something where when they look back at the show and they remember it, they remember the emotional drive, the energy that end up coming through that. And then they're going to go through the whole entire bill because there's going to be a band that they saw on that bill. There's going to be one that drew them there. But there's going to be every other one where it's like, I want to check out what they got. I want to check out what they got. I want to check what else they have because of how much fun I had. It's something that brings that connectivity to it. Plus, seeing all the different bands you've been able to open for and tour with, it just shows again that you guys have that connectability with so many different fans and the sound to be able to make that happen show after show after show. And then tour package after tour package when it could be something that is completely different. Who knows? The next one you might get, they might throw you on one with Disturbed or something. And you guys will be able to and ready to go forward with that.
Yeah, that would be a sick one. I mean, we're open to a lot of tours too. We just want to like keep staying out as much as we can. And I mean, honestly, like there's a lot of songs that like I'd love to break out on the tours too. And like once the album comes out, it'll open even newer doors. And like to, get that these crowds specifically would like. We've been playing so much off the new album that we're like, really can't, like if we add any more, we're just going to be playing new stuff. We can't do that. So I just want the album to be out already for them.
Yeah, so instead of playing, your whole entire set with the new album and having like half of it be things that people haven't heard yet, you want to make sure everyone's had a chance to hear it already so that when they come to the show, it's one, people have had a chance to hear it, they can get behind it, they can start moving and grooving with it and really show everyone else that doesn't know it how to get behind it. Secondly, you want to make sure it's out there so that when people are able to listen to it live and they say, hey, I want to know what that song is, go to setlist.fm and they see the song, they're going to want to listen to it right then and there. And if it's available and out there for them, boom, you're already able to hit on that. They're not going to have to wait a week or so. And then at that point, they might forget about it because humans in 2023, our attention spans are less than, that of a rat trying to get cheese.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm a great example of that.
So don't put any rats with cheese near Tyler so that his attention span doesn't get beaten out by that.
If there's any cheese around me, that will take my attention also.
Oh shoot. Well then when you guys come through to Wisconsin, if you're coming up from Illinois when you're doing it and you pass the Mars Cheese Castle, you might want to pull over and just go nuts.
No, I got to get my cheese curds. Sometimes I make these guys a little mad. I get these garlic cheese curds whenever they're available. And apparently they're very stinky when I open them in the van, but they're so good.
How can they go against garlic cheese curds? Those sound amazing right now.
Yeah, now I'm hungry now.
Dude, you got like a couple of days to wait, man. You're almost there.
We're getting there, yeah.
So I'm expecting when I get to, like, and I see you guys at Louder Than Life, I'm expecting you to come out and all of a sudden I'm just going to get a whiff of, what's that? Garlic, cheese. Oh, I know what Tyler did.
But yeah, I'm going to stock up.
You better, man.
Throw some cheese curds out to the crowd.
Oh, if you don't, I'm gonna be a little mad about that because I want to catch some cheese curds flying during a show. Who wouldn't want that? Especially, if you guys are gonna do it in Wisconsin. I mean, you might see a massive brawl in the middle of the floor because free cheese. I would.
Hope I can reach that barricades far, but I'll give it a.
Hey man, give it a shot. Hope for the best. I mean, it would be one hell of a story to tell and one hell of a piece of content to get. All of a sudden, we threw cheese into the crowd, and this is what happened. You never know. Might work.
I will. That could be my thing. I'll put various foods in my pocket. I'll switch it up every night. Some nights I'll just like pull some spaghetti out of my pocket, throw it into the crowd. There you go.
Hey, just have it in plastic bags and then all of a sudden just go up and people ask him what your spaghetti policy is, looking as much like Charlie Kelly as you possibly can.
I love that.
Shoot, we might have to get a whole entire new thing for 30 Day Dawns, but I do want to jump a little bit more. Of course, you got the new album, Finding Peace Through All the Noise, coming out on October 6th. And I'm really curious because I listened through the whole entire album and I want to know, especially, what was when you guys were writing it, what was your whole entire mindset around writing this album, the inspiration behind it? What were you guys really listening to get you into the groove to create this new album for yourselves?
There was so much that went into this. Because, I mean, like, really, it, like, started with Look at You when the pandemic hit. And then at that point, like, when all we had to do was, like, write, we couldn't go out and play. We just explored so much territory. And, you know, in that time also, like, we got signed. And by then, we just had so many different kind of styles going on. That the label got involved and just kind of told us, like, we need some cohesion, and they helped us, like, put things together. We started writing even more. Like, we never really fully stopped. Prided ourselves on just writing our own music for the most part. And then, so we were, like, a little at first apprehensive when the label suggested co-writers, but you know, so we just found him and we clicked with him immediately, and we just kind of kept our team small with him and our producer Steve Sobchak, who helps us with some of the writing. And he's awesome too. He's also worked with Motionless, and he's produced for the last 2 Ice Nine Kills records. And so with those two also, that's just the team we formed over the course of that time, and we were really happy with. And then once it came time to the studio, we went back multiple times, and then we were still, like, you know, cutting things off the chopping block. And so it just feels like we wrote so many songs and then really had to cut it all down to these 11 or 12. I'm sorry, I don't remember. 10. Oops. 10 tracks. But yeah, so there's really, like, a lot of different combinations. Like, you know, when we came out with Bitter, that was a song we really all just, like, got together. Another one that came from mostly just jamming together. And then, like, you know, Hesitate, the one that we just released and got picked up by Octane. That's one that we worked on with Tom. And I like having a really good mix and just always constantly be writing and working towards something. So it's hard to sum up, like, one specific thing this album's about when it just took so much time, and we took all these different routes, and, like, you know, from one song to the next, it's like we went about creating it in a completely different way. So, but then, you know, being in the studio and then working with Steve is when it kind of came down to making changes to make it all more cohesive and make a lot of the, like, last minute and more mixing changes too. And yeah, so we've wrapped that up a while ago now, and I'm just ready for the album to finally come out.
Oh, I don't blame you being ready for the album come out. One thing though, when you were talking right at the beginning of it, it kind of cut out for a little bit of a second just because of the connection, and I missed the name of your co-writer. So who was the guy that you were writing with on this?
Oh, Tom Hain. He drummed with In This Moment for many years. He's written a lot for Motionless and many other bands. He's the best. We clicked with him a lot.
All right, I just want to make sure I got the name out there. I got the name right because I want to make sure that people listening, that credit goes to where credit is due. And I mean, when it comes to just all the stuff you guys put into this album, all these songs you worked on for so long where it's like, okay, this came from this place, this came from this place. You know, the title just kind of makes sense in that realm. Finding peace through all the noise. everything you guys have gone through over the past couple of years. Of course, we all gone through with the pandemic, everything else in life. There's so much noise that when you're trying to find peace through it all, it's not going to be one singular avenue that you're going to find it down. Plus, when it comes to sound as well, if you have the same sound in the album over and over and over again, you're just driving in the same lane straight. And there's really no differentiating between there. This one, it allows you to be a little bit more expansive, creative, show exactly who you guys are as a band, even more so, show more of that creativity, and let people get more into the band and connect with their own selves as well through the songs and through the themes of each song at the same time.
Oh yeah, I agree with all that. And like one thing I like is, like I said, we all come from like very different backgrounds, and it's not really like, the songs all the time completely mash up on that. Like, some songs more the metal influence like takes the foreground, and some like the more grungy sound takes like the lead. But there are also like a lot of songs that I think even blend like, the metal and a lot of melodic elements really well too. And I really am ready for it to come out. I think it's unique and that people will connect with it. They already are when we're playing all of the songs that like people come to merch at these shows and like ask about are the ones that aren't released yet. And I love that.
That's how you know you're connecting with the fans and you're really getting something that's going to be well-versed and backed when fans are coming up to you and they're talking about the songs that haven't even been released yet. Two of the things that I was thinking about when you're talking about blending those melodic elements, some of those heavier metal elements, and just seeing where everything can come together. Personally, I thought your song Pain was the one that did it best, just because they had a little more of this like melodic, kind of like creepy, or a little bit of an intro in there. Kind of had a little bit of like a motionless and white flavor to it. Now, working with Tom, that kind of makes sense a little bit more. But what I really loved about it was every bit that you put in there, everything sounded so well balanced, especially when the verses kind of had this build-up feel toward them. And then that chorus really worked in much more of this grander hard rock kind of alt metal fashion that I've been used to. But it was the way that they also commented with that electronic addition that you heard in the intro, just how it really amplified everything from the vocals to the rest of the instrumentation throughout the chorus. And it made it sound so much more outstandish than if you just remove that subtle little piece of that electronic back. The way you guys produced that and the way you guys ran with that, I thought it made the best song on the record. The other thing that I think is really going to be a huge help when people listen to this album, especially as, Octane might pick up another song or two, was every single song from the intro, the first 10, 15 seconds of it, right away, everything was different, unique, and I'm like, I am into this every step of the way. I was invested in every single song within 15 seconds. That's on an album that has an intro and then 10 full songs. That ain't easy to do.
Dude, thank you so much. That means a lot. To go back to the mixing too, we got to give a lot of that credit to Jeff Dune. I want to make sure we shout him out. We did a lot of bouncing back ideas with him, and I like how you brought up like how balanced the electronic sounds are too, because one thing we still like always will absolutely do is record with live instruments, and like, we don't use like the Kempers for recording or like any sampled drums or anything that's not obviously like in Pain, some of the like bass pads and stuff like that. And a lot of that mixing actually was just from Tom's demo mix on that. So like he has production credits just because like his demos sound so good that we just used a lot from that too. A lot of those electronic elements. And yeah, I'm really glad we brought that together well, because I think it makes the dynamics of the chorus, and especially the last one, like hit so well. Our producer Steve, that was his favorite track for sure. He was so excited when we were recording that one.
I totally get it. It makes sense. And if Tom's demos are going to be that good and you're working with them, why not work with them? Why not use them? If it's going to express everything that you're hoping for in this song and make it sound the way that you want it to, go for it. It connects a lot more with the audience when you guys are like, okay, we're working on this, we're working with someone, and all of a sudden that collaborative effort just amplifies everything you ever wanted that song to be. Because then as an audience, we know that not only are you guys feeling it, but someone else who is also working alongside you was feeling it as well. Now your producer's feeling it. Now everyone that's mixing's feeling it. Now as an audience, we've got this feeling that, like 10, 12 people were already emotionally invested into this track. And now is it going to hit the audience the same way? Maybe a lot, yes. Maybe some, no. But at the same time, it has a lot more traction to stand behind because of something like that.
Yeah, dude, for sure. And that's so important too, is that we're all always there. And if any of us like ever feel off about something, like it's voiced, and we all just genuinely love the music we play. And, that general vibe in the studio is really important. When everyone's excited, like you're getting shit done and you're getting the best out of everyone.
And then when you get the best ever, when you get that excitement going, it just comes through on the album. And then when people listen to it, they feel it and they connect with it much stronger than they would if you guys are just like, this is fine. This is good. But if you're not feeling it, then it's like, if you're not feeling it, how are we going to feel it?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're super fortunate that Century Media are such a cool label because, at first they threw out like their big roster of, who we could work with and everything. And, we kind of asked them like, hey, we've been working with this guy, Steve, and we really like him and would like to keep working with him. And they just immediately were like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Like, sounds good. So they really do give us a lot of like creative freedom, and they're really amazing.
Well, again, seeing how you guys are growing, seeing how you guys are connecting with the fans of all across these different genres, from seeing more of this alt metal side, seeing more of this new metal, heavy metal side, to metalcore as well. I mean, why wouldn't they trust you on something like that? It just makes sense. I know, you're on the road. I don't want to keep you for too long, but I do have 2 specific questions I want to ask you if you're all ready for them.
Shoot.
One, I went directly to the Another Day Dawn's fan group on Facebook, and from Candace Bartley, she asked, she'd like to know whether you feel your music has changed over time and where you'd like to see it go in the future. So how would you answer something like that?
Whew. It's hard to see. Since Stranger, I mean, just the general like overall sound of this album and what we've done since then is, I don't even know how to explain the different approach. Like everything recording wise for Stranger, I feel like a lot got dumbed down. In the studio, we were always kind of like chopping things down and simplifying to get a bit more palatable. It's less like riffy and expressive through our instruments and more so in the tracks. And I think a lot on this album, like everything that shines, like comes from us authentically. And I think that's one of the biggest differences for this album that I'm happy with.
That makes sense. I can kind of hear some of that. I can kind of feel some of that. All right, now I've got one. I've started asking this to everybody that I possibly could, so I'm going to ask it to you as well. So can you give me 1 or 2, maybe 3 bands that are upcoming that you're listening to that you think more people should get behind? Well, of course, Another Day Dawns being one of them, but I need 3 more outside that if you got 3. If you got 2, that's fine. If you got 1, it's fine. Just trying to get some more music out to more people and help the scene grow that way.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, for sure, the dudes in Catch Your Breath. I gotta shout them out first if you've never heard of them. They're amazing, and they just announced a really cool tour after this too. They're always staying busy. I'm trying to think of like who could like what level bands. Oh, definitely our friends in Tala. Love everything they do. They're doing their own headlining tour that just kicked off, so that's around. You definitely go check them out. Guys, Any upcoming bands? Crooked Ways, yes. We always have them on our local shows with us. And a fourth, if that's allowed.
Yeah, what was the fourth again? I'll allow it.
Death Valley Dreams. They're doing something super cool and unique right now. We just played. They actually at our Reading show, it was just us and Memphis. Catch Your Breath were at Blue Ridge, so they had them open up the show, and they're so fucking cool. Definitely check them out.
We'll do. I know that Catch Your Breath is at Blue Ridge because I was also there at that ill-fated festival. So I'm hoping Louder Than Life is a lot better for everybody. We'll put it that way.
I hope so too. I think we'll have a fun day there.
Oh, we will definitely have a fun day. And now I know you're still on the road. So Tyler, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, one thing I'd like to do is give my guests, which is you in this instance, a chance to say whatever you want to say. Plug everyone to plug, promote or promote at the end of the podcast. So my friend, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. So yes, we're out with Memphis and Atreyu right now. We got about a week left of those shows, and we end on Louder Than Life. And then we just released Hesitate. It just got picked up on Octane, so stream that or listen to that on whatever you can. And our album, Finding Peace Through the Noise, will be out in later October. We don't have a 100% determined date yet. Sorry about that. But October.
Alrighty, so it's coming out a little bit later in October. It's coming out in October. That's what we know.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Now it's time for this podcast with three things. First things first, when it comes to Another Day Dawns, because of course, I know that Memphis Atreyu tour is wrapping up. Louder Than Life is coming through. So they're going to be going out on tour once again. You know what's going to happen. If they went on tour with those two guys, they went on tour with Bush and Breaking Benjamin, and if they did a couple of shows with Sevendust, you know they're not going to be slowing down anytime soon, especially with the new album coming out in October. So be sure to go and follow along with them. Go script to the podcast where it says Find Another Day Dawns online. Links, labels for all socials where you can support them, where you can go pre-order the album, pre-save it, all that kind of stuff down there for you. Go get some merch as well. Go do it. It's a good idea. Now, step for number 2. Tyler never gets the podcast. I tend to make a certain promise. And I know you had this promise. I believe I may have given you this promise 3 years ago, and I haven't had a chance to make good on it. So it's when I get to see you perform live for the next time. I will find you. Go all Liam Neeson from Taken. Looking for you. Finding you. I will try and do this in Louder Than Life. If I can make it happen, I'll come up. I'll be like, hey, buddy. And first round's on me. If I can find a Baja Blast alcoholic slushy at Louder Than Life, we're doing it.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah. I'll be looking for you.
Hell yeah. I'll just find the dude in the crowd probably going crazy in a mosh pit. If you see a backwards Brewers cap on, it's like, hey, that guy looks familiar. Yeah, it's going to be me.
Oh, yeah, dude. Get it going.
Oh, hell yeah. Now it's time to end this podcast by not saying goodbye. That is way too final, man. Cannot wait to see you guys live again. I'd love to be back on the podcast again in the future. Maybe not after 3 years because that's a little too long a time, but we'll see what happens. So this is not goodbye, my friend. This is I'll see you later.
For sure, dude. I'll see you soon.
Woo! Well, folks, this is my interview with Todd from the band Another Day Dawns, and now it's time for Kevin's final thoughts. So this final thought is going to come from a little bit of a different place, where I'm thinking about Another Day Dawns. I remember seeing them 3 years ago on the podcast. I got to interview them thanks to a man by the name of Joe Alfano. That guy, I've talked about him before. Unfortunately, he did pass away in August of this year. His loss, we've already talked about it, is a very hard-hitting one, especially for all of us that are in the music community, due to the fact that he supported so many young bands all the time. And I'm like, you know what? We got to continue to support them as well. So the Another Day Dawns, I think, was the second band he ever actually brought up to me. The first was Kingdom Collapse, but of course, we had Kingdom Collapse on the podcast already at that point. So this was the first band that Joe ever presented to me. And this is one where I'm like, you know what? We're going to want to check up on them. We're going to want to check them out. As time continues to go on, I've been keeping tabs on these guys. And of course, my music taste is a lot heavier and manic than maybe something that Another Day Dawns is going to put out. But I find beauty in some of the stuff that they write. Seeing their connection with fans opening for Breaking Benjamin and Bush. Seeing them literally in, the day before New Year's Eve in 2022, warm up the crowd for Sevendust with Il Nino and Nonpoint in support. They were the were a great opening up for it, getting us ready to go, and allowing the rest of the show to go off without a hitch. Now opening for Memphis May Fire and Atreyu. Who knows where they're going to go next with the release of this album? Who knows what's going to happen with them next? But this is why we need to continue to support these up-and-coming bands and these young bands that are really growing in the scene. Why do we need to continue this? It's for things like this. It's for moments like this when we take a look back and we think, my God, we could have known these guys for so much longer, so much earlier. Why haven't we? This is why we support these bands. It's because they're the next wave of what's going to be big in rock and metal. We want to see that happen. We want to continue to support that, and we're going to keep doing that. And this is the perfect place for you guys to continue to support that too. Will I bring every band on the podcast that I want? That's impossible. You want to know why that's impossible? Because I'd have to do like 10 episodes a day to bring you every single band I'd ever want. I need a whole team. I need I don't know how many people I need to help me out with that. I do 2 a week by myself, and that's a lot, but we're going to keep supporting them. We're going to keep this rolling. When it comes to the Day Dawns, when it comes to Finding Peace Through All the Noise, which comes out in October. I know the original date was October 6th, but they gave me a different date that could be different. It'll be out in October, though. So if you want to check out Another Day Dawns, if you want to make sure you're following along on social media and pre-save, pre-order the album, get some merch, all that good kind of stuff, go link to the podcast where it says Find Another Day Dawns online. Everything is right there for you. Also, make sure you're following along with us on the Chord Progression Podcast. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So go follow us on all social media sites. Remember to subscribe by hitting the button right down here if you're on YouTube. New episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday, clips throughout the weekend, a Friday reaction video always for you guys. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit the follow button or subscribe button. Make sure you like the episode by clicking right down here on YouTube or hitting that heart button. Spotify, Apple Podcasts really help us out. I really do appreciate it. Also, again, thank you everybody for listening. I really do appreciate it, and enjoy Another Day Dawns when Find Peace Through All the Noise drops in October. So on that note, that's what you guys think for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. I'm the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!